Hello, everybody. Welcome to Nintendo Pop Block here on Boss Rush Games. I'm your host and licensed excited Eddie V. Joining me is the devastating Dungeoneer himself, Mr. David Laxby.
Hey, everybody.
It is the celebratory Mr. Shane Kelly from Another Zelda Dungeon.
Nope.
Podcast. Podcast.
And she is the Dr. Mario of the Zelda world. Everybody, welcome Stephanie K.
Hey, I'm excited to be here.
Thank you. Shay, what should I have introduced you as? Just Another Zelda Podcast? Because you're so engaging. You're so positive and enlightening and just
say that person right there in the window. No.
That person in the window, Mr. Shane Kelly.
The guy with all the cool merch in the background.
Yes. You know, I had this. I had to send him some love because he showed us the Nintendo Power magazines, and I was just like, yes.
I see that. That's super impressive. All I have, I know listeners wouldn't be able to hear it, but I have my link here. I took it from my son's room.
Awesome.
I steal my child's toys.
Well, I have the small version of that, plus the Zelda one my daughter has, and she wants me to tell stories every night with Zelda, so I'll incorporate Zelda. And she loves it. So
that's parenting done right. Good job.
David, any Zelda things for you?
Oh, yeah. So I probably collect too much. I at some point need a shelf to have it on display here, but gosh, my favorite Zelda stuff. I bought an Ocarina of Time from St. Louis Ocarina, and I've been learning to play that. And it came with this little, as like a bonus gift, it came with a Legend of Zelda treasure chest that you keep the Ocarina in.
That's cool.
So I love that. That's one that's probably my favorite in my collection, I guess.
David, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
When you open it, does it go da-na-na-na?
No, only in my head. But
so
ironically,
I have one, and mine does that.
Yours does.
Yeah, so the Nintendo rep that I got that used to come to Toys R Us gave me a treasure chest that kept all your your 3DS games in. So when you open it up, it makes that it makes that noise.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I bought the I guess it's like the treasure box edition of the hardback Zelda manga, and that when you open it and all the books in there, that does the chime.
Yeah, that's awesome.
This is my favorite thing. I carry around with me.
Oh, awesome!
Well,
I saw that in your picture the other day when you were previewing your Snacktendo.
Yes, I got it for Christmas, and I keep my 3DS and not 3DS. So I keep my Switch, my Pro Controller, and my games in it when I go to work. And it is literally like my lunchbox. You know, I just I might not eat nothing, but if I'm not eating nothing, I'm playing some games in my car. So that is the thing. So everybody, you probably already seen the title. You know why I probably got this group of Zelda fans and just historians. But we're gonna get into that a little bit later in the show. We're gonna get to some quick housekeeping. This is episode 242 of Nintendo Power Block Podcast. Each and every week we come together and talk about games and everything we love about them with our friends. You could join us live on Monday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time on twitch.tv/BossRushGames live and be a part of the conversation. But you can't join us live, no big deal. You can head over to youtube.com/BossRushGames and BossRushGames.com to watch the show or listen on your podcast service of choice. Remember to subscribe, follow, rate, and review wherever you consume us. It helps us out with discoverability. And check out our family of shows whenever you listen to our podcast or your podcast. Come join the Boss Rush Network Discord. We have a ton of communities that talk about games, entertainment, snacks, and more. So you guys can come check us out on Discord for Boss Rush Games. Now, before we get into that, everybody, how was your weekend? Shane, how was your weekend?
Oh, it was all right. Had some good food. Got a new phone. Cleaned the basement. Trying to get that cleared out a little so that we can get some air conditioning possibly piped in this summer. So thank you, stimulus. So,
All right. Stephanie, how was your weekend?
Not bad, not bad. Spent a lot of time outdoors, which is great. It gets super cold and not great outside during the winter, so we're just crawling out of that. In the meantime, I'm just outside with my son drawing with chalk. I've been drawing a bunch of Nintendo characters while he's off doodling and stuff. I drew myself a pretty nice Yoshi, if I do say so myself. And I'm also working on finishing editing my novel right now. So it's starting to become a chore. It shouldn't be a chore, but I'm almost there.
All
As my
right.
weekend.
All right.
Thanks.
David, how was your weekend?
It's good. Lots of dad stuff. Similar to what you were saying, Stephanie, it's been really crappy weather around here for quite a while. And so this was our first time kind of soaring into the 70s and 80s. And so I took my kids to the ocean on Saturday, and that was fun. And got to have a lot of reading and game time with my kids. So it was good.
Nice.
All
did you say 70s and 80s?
Yeah.
It was in the 30s here the other day.
Yeah. Well, normally Seattle is a nice 37 degrees and raining for 5 months of the year. So
How about you, Ed? How was your weekend?
It was good. I did a lot of podcasting. Like I said, podcasting with LeBron for Boss Rush, podcast with Jesse for Arsenal. Was updating my Xbox, and I popped in Cyberpunk 2077. I'm like, okay, because I had already updated, and I'm going to be like, I'm going to see how this update is and everything. I popped it in and I got my TV on, and I look at it, it's just like, this game needs to update. Okay, I'm like, okay, this just probably needs to finish it. That thing said 23.95 gigs, and it was just like, we're going to take 8 hours to download this. And I'm just like, Satan, not today. Cut my TV off and went to work. Because I was just like, this is crazy. I'm like, 8 hours? This is almost like the Mass Effect trilogy that I did on PS3. That it took me a day and a half to download that whole all 3 games. And I'm just like, this is the work of the devil. I'm not about to do this. No, not today. But other than that, just playing, getting a lot of gaming, working on some articles, some blogs, getting some stuff done for the writing team that we're going to talk a little bit more later on in the show, and just working as normal, living my life and everything. Because, oh goodness gracious, Mother's Day is coming up, and we about to get everybody and the dead people to come in all late to get their Mother's Day cards and stuff, and it's going to be non-stop. I already know it's about to be a mess, so I'm preparing for that. But that's pretty much what's my weekend. So with that, everybody, we're gonna jump into Snacktendo. Now, Shane, I gotta start with you because you already know. I was just like, you better come through with the Snacktendo.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I always tell my wife we got to do something. I'm going to be on the podcast coming up this week, and so we got to do something good. So we made crostinis. We toast them. We put olive oil and garlic salt on sliced French baguettes. Put that in the oven, and then put some, I think it's garlic and herb cream cheese on there, and then you put some honey and fig jam on top of that. Put on some baby arugula and some roast beef, and it is delicious. The kids will eat it too. So, yeah, that was delicious. And then I made mushrooms with applewood smoked bacon wrapped around, and then I put some brown sugar on it, and I tossed that on the grill. And then I made some sweet grilled sweet peppers, and we put I want to say it was cream cheese with goat cheese, and then green onions, and we mix that inside the pepper, and that is good as well. And then I think maybe Wednesday or Thursday last week we made these turkey, onion, and pepper meatballs, and then we took jalapenos and pineapple, and then we made like a coconut rice and sauce for it, and we mixed it all together. It was delicious.
My mouth is
I know.
salivating.
It's like I need a napkin to wipe away my drool.
But yes, eating healthy over at the Kelly.
David, what about you? What was your snack to know?
Lately I've been indulging in Ben and Jerry's Caramel Sutra ice cream, which is both hilariously named and delicious. So,
Is that the vegan one?
yeah, it is one of their vegan ones. Yeah.
How is it?
Well, I mean, I only eat vegan stuff, so I can't tell you how it compares, but I think it tastes great. So,
No, because I've been wanting to try it to be like give it a fair taste, and that's just like no one's talked about it. So you're like the first person.
it has my stamp of approval. I don't know what that'll mean for you, but
So anything else? Just some Ben Jerry's. Or
I mean, lots of home cooking. I have tacos and chow mein noodles that I make at home pretty regularly. Those two things are like my favorite every week. So they're not super out of the ordinary for Snack Tendo.
I want chow mein now.
I love it.
Stephanie, what about you?
Oh man! So on Saturday, I got Mexican street corn pizza.
See that?
Yes. Oh yeah. I follow like a old school friend of mine who now has a food blog via Facebook. So of course I have to follow him. And a long time ago, he had a picture of this amazing pie, well, pizza pie, whatever, Mexican street corn. I pulled up on my phone to make sure I give it justice with what's on it. So it's obviously sweet corn, spicy aioli base, a 3 cheese blend topped with herbs and queso fresco. And it took the utmost willpower not to eat the entire thing. It was delicious. I love it. And then, so I'm going back to the same place because they also had on their menu like a crab rangoon pizza. I don't know how they pull it off, but if they can pull off Mexican street corn pizza, I'm pretty sure they can pull off that.
They have a crab rangoon pizza down the street here, and it's delicious. I recommend it if you like that kind of food.
Awesome. Yeah. So that's kind of the highlight of my week right there.
Oh, nice.
Okay. So for me, last Thursday I actually got to try Thai food for the first time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here we go.
So the pot stickers that I got it from, bomb big. They had a sweet and sour ginger sauce, and I'm like, I don't want to taste, because I used to eat pot stickers a lot at Fridays, and whatever dipping sauce that they had was like some kind of soy sauce, was really good. I don't want to taste no other sauce on pot stickers beside that. Like, I would literally buy a bottle from that place if they sold it. I was like, oh, I should have ordered like 2 more. Like, I could have eat 12 of the pot stickers because of that sauce. It was so good. It was so delicious. And then I got to the chicken fried rice, the chicken and beef fried rice. Wow, the difference that it makes. I'm like, go. The chicken was tender, the beef was good. Like, I was sleepy for 2 whole days because of that fried rice. I was just like, I need a nap. Then I woke up like, I need another nap for it. I didn't. The pad thai was okay, but I was sitting around. I'm like, I don't like the noodles that they use. I think I still like the spaghetti, chow mein, kind of those long noodles kind of things. I think I like that. And if that's, I want to see if there's another Thai place that sells noodles like that for pad thai. Because it's just like this one it had too much of an Italian look to it and an Italian taste. Like, it was sweet and it was good. I would have ate more, but it was just like, this is like some Chef Boyardee like thrown together. And I'm like, I'm not feeling this. So I want to see if there is another place. But I did enjoy it. It put me to sleep, like I said. And I just, it was an experience that I had. So another thing, you guys probably can't see it because the bottle's almost gone. I had Pepsi Mango. I just found it at Target. I think they used to do it in cans, but now it's just the 20-ounce one. And when you straight drink it, you taste literally mango. You don't taste no Pepsi at all. Even the aftertaste doesn't taste like Pepsi. And what I found out that a lot of people don't like mango.
Like-
So I'm like, oh, okay. So I can't share this with nobody to get there. Okay. So,
That
Are you
means
getting some
more for you.
pushback? Yeah.
huh? Oh, what'd you say, David?
Oh, were you getting some pushback, Ed, when you were trying to talk about it?
No, no. A lot of people just like they like Pepsi, but they just don't like mango, so they won't
Okay.
drink it. So, Stephanie, did you have something?
Oh no, I just said it's more for you.
Exactly. So, because I have bought two of them to let my other manager taste it, because I like to get his opinion on it and everything. And I was just like, yeah, we don't agree, because we just brought the Ruffles double ways honey mustard flavor. And it literally tastes like honey mustard. You could get a dry sandwich, put those chips in, and literally eat that dry sandwich with those chips, and it would give it flavor. It literally tasted like honey mustard. I was just like, I could even eat this with some chicken nuggets without no sauce and that flavor. Like, it's kind of good. It was really, really good. I was just surprised, because I was just like, I didn't expect them Ruffles to have like honey mustard chips and be like, "Ooh, this is bomb big. This is good." So,
Ed, are you running your own little snack tendo at work? Bringing in your other managers
Like
there.
the Resident Evil 4. His code.
You actually know what, my manager texts me all the snack stuff first before I get into work. So I go in, I get the snacks. Be like, okay, you got a bag, I got a bag. We all good to go. Last but not least, I did try some miso soup. Not miso soup. Miso ramen. Today. And
What'd you think?
It was good. It was really good. I love the broth. It was like thick, and I was just like, I know what I can do. I can eat this with I can eat the noodles, and I can slurp, because it's part of ramen tradition. And so I was just like, now it's kind of hard being me slurping ramen noodles while reading the Ask Iwata book, which I recommend everybody go read. It's so good. It's literally good. So I'm
it's
just
on sale
Huh?
right now. It's on sale right now on Amazon. So.
Yeah.
Oh really?
The hardcover, yeah.
Yeah, I literally I had pre-ordered mine to have it shipped. It actually came in the early Thursday, because it's supposed to be here Friday. So I'm just eating my noodles like, and it was just like, I'm in front of a lot of people, but I'm just like, this that's what you're supposed to do with ramen noodles. You're supposed to slurp it. So I ate my noodles, ate just ate all the flavors and stuff that came with it, and then picked up the bowl, drunk it, put it down, drank it again, put it down, and then just got to start getting the spoon, because it was still hot. So I was just like, okay, let me get this thing down. And then I had a really good time with it. I haven't had that kind of ramen in about 4 years. And so to go back to this place and seeing that their cafe was open, that for I could get it, and I didn't get anything to drink, and I'm just like, dang it, I forgot to get something to drink. But yeah, that's what I had. That's what I did, and then I got sushi downstairs on the refrigerator. That after the show, I'm going to go eat, and I'm so excited.
All right, I know our next T-shirt idea, Ed. It's going to be you eating ramen while reading Iwata's book.
Oh yes. Oh, we have so much.
It's Ed with a min hair. Reading the books.
I've been called Mr. Pow by Jesse.
Mr.
Laura is calling us blockaders. We've just been doing a lot with Nintendo Power Block, and it's been literally fun. But everybody, that is our snack tender. We want to know what you guys been snacking on. You can leave us a comment here in our Twitch chat if you guys are watching us live, or follow us at Power Block Podcast on Twitch, or come join us on the Discord for Snack Tendo. We have a channel there where we all talk about things snacks and everything right there. But we're going to get to a quick game fact events, because There was an indie world showcase that we're going to be talking about a little bit later, and there was like a particular game from Konami that was shown, and I'm just like, oh, that's cool. Well, while looking the game up, trying to make sure that I get the name, I kind of found out something that even I didn't know, and Konami has been one of my
Oh.
favorite companies. Yes. So Getsu Fumaden is a side-scrolling action adventure game for the Famicom computer by Konami, released in 1987. It was available exclusively in Japan. It has been referenced in many subsequent Konami titles throughout the years. The game is structurally similar to Castlevania 2, Simon's Quest, The Goonies 2, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. A roguelike sequel titled Getsu Fumaden Undying Moon is scheduled to release on Steam and via early access in May of 2021 and Nintendo Switch in 2022. And then I looked at some information and looked at the composer, and the composer is Hidenori Mazawa. And just a quick thing, Mazawa is the founder of the music production company Picnic, and a man most hardcore video game fans wish to refer to as the creator of the distinctive Konami sound. Mazawa's introduction to music was when his older brother became a big fan of the Beatles. He enjoyed listening, but didn't start composing his own music until he was 20. Composing became his livelihood when he decided he wasn't capable of playing instruments and therefore couldn't play in a band. Mazawa big break came in 1986 when he answered a job recruitment ad for Konami, who were soliciting programmers for home development. He was hired for his technical and composing skill and was immediately pressed into service, assisting Kinuya Yamashita on her soundtrack for Castlevania. After that soundtrack, Miyazawa continued to program music for Konami games, most notably the NES version of Contra, in which he and future Pure Sound founder Kiyoshi Sada pioneered the use of the PCM channel for drums, a device Sada, Yamashita, and many other developers would use in future NES games. So, yeah, I was just like, oh wow! Because I love the Ninja Turtles and I love Goonies 2 and Castlevania Simons 2, and so he kind of played a part in this now known as Metrovania genre of games, and him producing the sound. Like when you even listen to Contra, you just be like, you cannot deny on how good that soundtrack is and everything. Like I play Contra almost once every month and just make sure my skills are still up there. And it's just like so energetic when you go into that game and you listening to that music. It's so good. So that's my. Oh, go ahead.
Those 8-bit and like chiptune composers are to me, they're really impressive because just what they're able to pull off with such little resources. I think it's incredible.
Yes. So that's been our Game Fact events. So now you know what time it is. It's time for Femi News. David, take it away.
All right. Thanks, Ed. Well, our first story is about the Indie World Showcase recap, and this bit of reporting actually comes from our own Boss Rush games from Ed and Dan Murphy. So let's dive into that. Nintendo brought us a new Indie World Showcase that contains some exciting new indie titles, updates to announced games, surprising ports, and the debut to Oxenfree. With 21 games shown, Nintendo and its indie partners are delivering a lot of content across multiple genres. A sale on indie games was also announced, and that sale will be going on through April 25th until midnight that day. So the following is a quick list of the games that were announced, and I'm going to fly through these quickly just as a review. We have Road 96, Never Yield, Last Stop, Hindsight, Ollie Ollie World, The Longing, There Is No Game, Wrong Dimension, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge, Christ Tales, Getsu Fumidan, Aztec, Forgotten Gods, Skull, Fez, Art of Rally, Kiwi, Labyrinth City, Weaving Tides, House of the Dead Remake, Ender Lilies, Quietus of the Nights, Beasts of Maravilla Island, and Oxenfree 2 Lost Signals. So for our panel for this first story, I'm just curious about what your reactions are to the Indie World Showcase. And I know that Stephanie actually wrote our Boss Rush banter piece for this about this today, asking folks, what are you most excited for? So definitely go ahead and check that out over at Boss Rush and share your ideas with us. What stands out to you most? Any significance to the state of indies on Switch with this latest Indie World Showcase? So, Shane, we'll go ahead and start with you. What are your reactions to this latest showcase?
I think Nintendo does a good job of making a diverse lineup every time they showcase these. It's like a color wheel almost, and wherever you're on the color wheel, you got something that you can play. Some of the ones I'm more excited about, Turtles, definitely. I do hope that's online. I don't know if it was mentioned or not, but I would love to play with I got 4 brothers and a sister. Most of them have a Switch. I would love to play it online with them. Also, Road 96 looked good. Hindsight, Last Stop, Oxenfree 2 I'm excited about. But I am excited about Beasts of Maravilla Island. I did kickstart that one. So I am excited to play that. It's kind of like a adventure Pokemon Snap type thing. You got your camera and you take pictures of the animals that are on the island. So I am, I guess, kind of excited to see what my money went to. So
yeah, Shane, how long ago did you kickstart that? That's really interesting.
Probably less than a year ago.
Wow, and it made it to the Indie Direct that quickly.
Yeah. I think I've kickstarted probably 20 plus games on, and I've only played one, which was Summer of Mara, which was my first one. Another one came out, I think, Sword of the Necromancer, but I'm waiting for my physical copy in June. So then I'll play.
Was there any bonus for the kickstart that you did?
I think digital art. I think you can get stickers, and I do believe higher up you get the soundtrack and some other stuff.
That's fantastic.
What I usually do for my Kickstarters is try to get the soundtrack at least. I like to have it physical, but for the most part, I usually get it digital because the price difference is pretty significant.
Of course. Well, thank you. And I love what you said about the color wheel. I think that's a beautiful analogy for what Nintendo does with their indies. And I totally agree. Stephanie, I know you wrote quite a bit about the Indie Direct. What was on your mind as you watched that?
Well, I just get wicked excited about indie games. So as I've alluded to, I'm an author, and it's actually Indie April in the book world. I'm not actually sure if Indie April applies to games as well, but I know the Indie World Showcase has gone on other months. But anyway, the point is like I'm all in. Even my blog, I interview indie authors and review only indie books. So I'm kind of a little obnoxious in that manner. So when I was able to hop on and watch it live with you guys, it just blew my mind. And I don't want to repeat too much of what Shane already spoke to, but just I appreciate the diversity, whether it's via the graphics, the gameplay, the genre. It's just a little bit for everybody. I mean, indie games have kind of picked up over the last few years, but they just really carried through, especially certain games last year. I think Hades came out last year, and, you know, that blew some minds. So there were definitely a couple, some winners here. Road 96 caught my eye as well. I wrote a bit about that in my banter piece, and I love the fact that it's set in the 90s. You know, I grew up in the 90s. There'll be 90s-like music. And, you know, again, like Shane said, it's something about game music that I love so much. And I'm digging the soundtracks. And then the 2 Annapurna games, which is Last Stop and Hindsight, I'm also looking forward to. But I'm also...
May I interrupt? Can I get that? Can I get that soundtrack to Hindsight? That music in that trailer, I'm like, oh goodness, this is so good. Okay, I'm sorry.
No, you stopped me from my ramble. Sometimes I start rambling, so I'm glad you did that. No, that music just take me now. It's great.
Exactly.
No, the only last thing I'd say is, you know, I'm glad they also had an indie sale as well. I think Hades was part of the sale. I'm gonna buy Carrion and Rogue Heroes. Heroes. I downloaded the demo and played it, and it looks like a lot of fun.
That's awesome. I'm also excited for Road 96. I tell my kids all the time that the 90s has the best music, but they don't agree with me. I think I'm old. The other games that caught my eye, also Ninja Turtles. I hadn't thought about it, Shane, until you just said that. But if there is a multiplayer online, I think I could die a happy man. That sounds. I mean, I have so many fond memories of playing the arcade game with a bunch of buddies at a birthday, and oh God, that would be fantastic. And then the other one that I'm kind of curious about is the House of the Dead remake. I'm curious what that'll look like and how that plays. So. Those are ones that are on my list. Ed, what about you as somebody that has played every game under the sun? What did you think of this list of new indie titles?
I love the diversity that we spoke of. What I really like about this Indie World Showcase, and I hope they continue to do it, is when they show the developers from around the world making this game. One of the highlights, because I always say this, the Aztec one.
Yes.
Yes. I'm trying to find the name.
Forgotten Gods.
Aztec.
Yeah, Aztec. When I just hearing him talking about the culture and seeing this game, I'm like, this is not indie. This is almost triple A. Like, I don't know. I'm like, I was blown away about how this game looks, and I love that representation, because I love saying the word Aztec. It's just such a cool word to say, and seeing him talking about it was just like, I love when these developers come in and talk about it. Definitely with Never Yield. When Ariel Knight coming on from Detroit and just talking about this, I'm like, oh, we got black representation for a developer who's making this game. And like, listen to the soundtrack, I'm like, oh yeah, this is going to be a banger. If they do not sell the soundtrack physical, I'm going to have a problem. We'll have to write to be like, you need to release this, get the license stuff together. But yeah, I just the different art styles, all these different genre of games. Skull is going to be like one of my probably my go-to game, because I just love the artwork on the poster, but the gameplay is just like, this looks fast and furious, and I can't wait to have more. Of course, the Ninja Turtles is going to be one, because I know that David's going to be up late at night, be like, get on your Switch. Pick your character, let's run through this game. It just has fun and everything.
So what do you guys think about that game? I forgot what it's called, the actual 400 days that you have to
I'm really curious about that. The longing.
The longing.
You fill 400 days. I love just out there concepts like that. I think I'm so excited for that.
That's really a slow burn.
Oh yeah.
So. I love the artwork to it. Like, this looks like a Nickelodeon classic art thing that they used to do back in the 80s. Like, they used to take fairy tales and do a certain style to them every Saturday. And so I'm looking at it. It's not my cup of tea yet, but if it goes on sale, I'll definitely be picking it up. That's the problem with this indie one. I want everything that's on this list.
Yes. Yep.
Let me start to wrap this conversation up by just putting it back out there a little bit. I think we've talked about this in the past, Ed, on other shows, but the indie world really does offer a huge opportunity for representation in gaming. And, I think one of the things that people are realizing is just how many great stories are out there that haven't been told yet or haven't had their chance in the spotlight. And I think indie games are really proving it. Like, these games deserve their chance in the sun, their moment in the sun. And there's some fantastic stories out there that it's so great that the big studios aren't playing gatekeeper for. And we actually get this diversity in storytelling, whether that is cultural diversity or graphical diversity, or even just out of the box gameplay, like The Longing and waiting 400 days. I mean, if you described the game like Coffee Talk to me, where you're just making drinks for customers all the time, I thought, like, what? But playing that game, it's been one of my favorite games that I played in the last year or two, right? So I think these games deserve a chance. So, Ed, I wanted to ask you first, and I'll let the whole panel in. Why has the Switch been such a good place for indie games? And it's not like they aren't on other consoles, but it does seem to be a place where they're thriving. Why do you think that is?
Because Nintendo gives indie games this focus. I think even since like the Wii U, when they was at GDC trying to get people, indie developers using Unity and stuff, they have always encourage indies, bring your games to our platform, and we will give you the marketing. We will showcase that, and give you guys a fair shake, because Microsoft and Sony kind of let the indies slide apart. So what they let down, Nintendo picked up and just like, we will do this so good. Now that Switch has become popular and a lot of indie games are getting physical, and stuff, people are drawn to this. They're ready to get this experience. So what these big companies are not putting on Switch, these indies are fulfilling. So what happens is that everybody's talking about the indies. The indies are becoming Game of the Year nominations. They're changing the industry, and Nintendo is the place to do it. Like, even if you look at some of these games that's been on Steam and Epic Games, the moment they touch Switch, sales jump up almost 300% from the days they released, or even did more. Like, Stephanie, you mentioned Hades. Hades had been in early access on Epic Games Store for almost a year and a half. The moment that the full version touched Switch, and this even happened to Dead Cells, the moment that it came out of early access and it touched Switch, the game sold like bunkers. Hades became a Game of the Year nomination and have won some places. So indies on Switch is kind of just like, this is the place to be at. We know we could get you guys money and good sales and definitely good pre-orders. And if there's a chance that your game is coming to limited run or super rare games or I am 8-bit, you're definitely going to get more than what you didn't even think that you would get. Like, you would literally sell almost as big as a AAA game.
Well, Ed, that's interesting you say that. I would argue that there is something of a cultural difference at Nintendo too, though, because I think it's interesting, like the announcement from PlayStation, or not really an announcement from them, but the story about PlayStation this week, that they're only really focusing on blockbuster games, right? And that's really what they're looking at. It's hard to imagine something like that coming out of Nintendo. Stephanie, any closing thoughts on this topic?
Just echoing what Ed said, because I do feel that, while Nintendo has very strong IPs, they don't, take the lag time in between, lightly. They put a lot of focus onto these indie games, by allowing like that Indie World Showcase to have its own time, its own show. So that's why, I kind of agree with that logic and that flow. And just from a consumer's point of view, because I have a PS4. I don't have an Xbox, so I have a PS4, and I've had Nintendo consoles all my life. Especially getting into, I didn't have Wii U, but like the Switch generation. There's something also about the fact that it's mobile. I don't know why, but there's just something. Again, this is a consumer point of view. Like the fact that I can dock it or have it mobile, I feel like that kind of influences the fact that that's my go-to console, and I want more of my games on that console. So if I want to dabble in a couple indie games, I'd prefer it to be on there. It's just me. I'm probably just a small opinion there, but thought I'd throw that in.
No, that's a great point. I think there's a lot of truth to that. Shane, you get the closing thought on this topic.
So going off of Stephanie, yes, I play, and I pick and choose how I play my indies, and I mainly pick for the Switch for story. For simple or laid back experiences. I can sit on the couch, I can sit at the kitchen table, and having a kid, I could take the Switch. They can, watch the Wiggles or whatever they're doing. So, lately I've just been picking certain longer, better visual graphic style for my PS4, and I've been picking a lot of the story-based ones like Firewatch, Abzu, those kind of Golf Story. Speaking of that, I want to know where Sports Story is. But yeah, it's just, there's just something about being able to take my Switch and being able to play it and, put in my headphones, or, I can, go sit out on the deck, or I can go up to my room, and not, mainly bother the rest of the family if they're doing something, or they bother me. Just kidding. But it's just something along those lines that it's almost like a unique, special experience Even when I got it, my daughter was born 11 days after the Switch came out. I was able to play Legend of Zelda in one hand while I'm feeding. It's it's something along those lines that I think that's why it sells so well, because anyone who travels, or anyone who just has one TV and 10 people in the house, you take that Switch and you can play it. So.
Thank you, guys. Those are great thoughts. And, the indie world showcase is certainly something worth pausing and reflecting on. And I do agree with what you all said, that there seems to be a connection between the sort of free-spirited or relaxing attitude that comes with playing indies and the hands-free, or not hands-free, but mobile option that Switch provides. So thank you. Well, we're going to move on to our next story. This is from Liam Doolam out of NintendoLife.com. Metroid Prime 4 developer hires DreamWorks talent as a lighting artist. Yeah, I see you shaking your head, Ed. It's been quite the hiring spree for them. So, quote, over the past year, Retro Studios has been on a mass hiring spree for its highly anticipated release, Metroid Prime 4. While this important process seems to have slowed down in recent months, apparently the studio isn't done just yet. Metroid fan site Shine Sparkers reports a lighting and compositing artist by the name of Chad Orr has signed on at Retro as a senior lighting artist. This information comes via LinkedIn. His former projects are just as impressive as the studio's other recruits, and he's even got some common links. In terms of film, he's worked on projects at Disney's, such as the animations Moana and Zootopia, and at DreamWorks Animation on How to Train Your Dragon 3 and The Croods: A New Age. Like some of the others on the team, he helped Sony Santa Monica with God of War, and has also won some awards for this title, and How to Train Your Dragon 3. He assisted Sony Pictures ImageWorks as well. So, for consideration, what are your reactions to this latest hire? Does this suggest more delays? What is going on with Metroid Prime 4? So, Ed, I'll start with you. Give us your thoughts on this.
So I seen this story before. We talked about it here on Pop Block, and I was like, not dumbfounded. I was speechless, because I was just like, "Oh, that's awesome! You're getting someone from DreamWorks." I think Metro Prime 4 once again, it's becoming something that we are not going to expect. We got all these big name game developers, but now we're getting film into it. I don't think it's so much delays and stuff, because hopefully we see a trailer at E3. But this is getting me hyped. Like, this is getting me like, the moment you guys announce a pre-order, I'm pre-ordering this game. Like, because I know it really feels like Nintendo is really putting some money into this game. And the production value on this is going to be very high quality. It's going to make it seem like whatever they had did previous before they canceled that version, they're going to make that look like it was just a concept that was that they could use. And then the Retro probably looked at the concept and was just like, well, we could do way better than this. So I cannot wait to see what this game is going to turn out to be.
Absolutely.
The cutscenes are going to be bonkers. From a guy who has worked at DreamWorks, working in that animation and that lighting and everything, they got to make a book for this. They got to make an art book for this. I will pay $100 to get a Metro Prime 4 art book for everything on this. This game is just, like I said, I'm not worried about the delays and stuff. We don't know anything about it. Yes. But my reaction to this is going to be like, I cannot wait to see this. And even if it doesn't impress me or impress people, I feel like, you know what? They're still working on this game. And when they get
good people working on it.
Yeah, when they get this cleaned up, and Nintendo loves their quality, they don't play around with it. It's going to look better than you ever expected. So right now I'm I need a pre-order date. I need an art book, and I can't wait to see what this game turns out to be.
Ed's ready to hand over his wallet.
Yeah.
So Stephanie and Shane, I know that we all have Zelda in common. Do either of you play Metroid? And any thoughts on this?
Go ahead, Stephanie.
A long time ago, but I'll be honest with you, I'm not too familiar, which I'm, ashamed to admit, but I've been keeping tabs on, this future release because it's one of those franchises where I kind of miss the mark with starting it and playing it, and I want to, dive in and explore it for myself. So the only thing I could think of with reaction to this news is kind of like what Ed was saying, and I was just thinking. And again, I don't claim to be like a pro in this aspect, but man, this would be perfect for like one of the first games to go with the Switch Pro. Like if they're thinking extremely high quality visuals, not that it's necessary, but it's the best way to showcase that level of quality and stuff like that. So.
Somewhere Dan is cheering for your answer. So, Shane, what about you?
Well, Retro is like hiring just such a diverse group, and especially with this guy being a lighting composite artist. Either they're going to do a lot of heavy cinematic type cutscenes. The other thing I thought of is maybe they wanted someone to oversee the lighting of the entire project. Maybe they want to get an opinion of tones for certain areas, what it should be. If it's like a Resident Evil type thing, you want it a little darker. How is the lighting in there? If it's gonna have like iridescent type things in there, how does that reflect off of different objects? So just the mindset of either the game is getting pretty much completed, and it's just getting this light added throughout this whole area that they're going to explore and go from area to area as he implements it. But yeah, that was my thought on there. I think even though it would be nice to have this launch with the Pro, and if it's supposed to come out this year, I don't think it is, just because if the rumor for the 3 Metroid Prime trilogy is coming, I think they're going to put that out first, and then maybe next year have that game. So I do believe they're going to have other games to showcase with this Pro Switch. So.
Yeah, you guys bring up some good points. It does make me wonder too, just if there's any chance that this is a late hire to help with smoothing out the trailer for E3. If there's anything to that, we are in the Metroid anniversary, I think, as well as the Zelda one. So,
yes.
That seems like an ideal spot to put it. I will say that I'm not a huge Metroid fan. I've played some of the games over the years, but I can. And I don't want to offend any Metroid fans that have been waiting a lot longer, but as someone waiting for Breath of the Wild 2 for a very long time, it's been hard having to be patient, but I feel like if I was waiting for Metroid Prime 4, like I am for Breath of the Wild 2, and I heard that they're hiring this great staff to work on it, I would feel like, okay, it's in good hands, and I'm willing to wait if I know that they're just going to knock it out of the park when it comes out. And it feels like this is going to be top line when it comes out.
But this is the struggle with Breath of the Wild 2. The next trailer that they show, it's going to be like, okay, where does the story go? And there's going to be like 17 different predictions about the story.
Always good.
Fine. It makes for good talk and good banter. So
we've been starving in the Zelda community, so we need it.
Yes, we have.
Still to this day, if you watch that first Breath of the Wild trailer, hear everybody prediction what the story could go. It's crazy.
Oh, yeah. All right, well, we're on to our third story here. So Mario Kart 8, now the best-selling racing game in U.S. history. This is from Brian out of NintendoEverything.com. Mario 8 has reached a major milestone in the United States, according to the latest data from NPD. It's now the best-selling racing genre game in U.S. history. NPD doesn't indicate whether that information only includes the Switch version, but we'd assume the original Wii U title is lumped in as well. It's worth noting that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe was the 6th best-selling game in the US just this last month. Best-selling game, period. in the last month. Despite being a few years old, it still manages to place high on the charts regularly. So, Stephanie, we'll start for you. Are you a Mario Kart fan? Any reactions to this? Would it be foolish for Nintendo to release Mario Kart 9 at this point when 8 is still selling so well? What do you think about that?
Oh, I'm a big fan of Mario Kart. I really got into it when I had my Nintendo 64 and just playing with my friends, even by myself, but it's more fun with friends. And I gotta say, this Mario Kart 8 has been my favorite rendition thus far. I've loved where they've taken it. They found ways to kind of, refresh it, make sure it's not stale. I love how you can revisit, in the different cups, like all the different levels from the previous console. They'll list what console it's at. So I think it's great for new players just jumping on the Mario Kart train, and also for players like myself where, I can have a little bit of nostalgia mixed in as well. Well, I shouldn't be surprised, but I'm also surprised that it's still doing as well just because it's been out for a while. Because there's been great games that have come out since then. But I don't know if it would necessarily be foolish for them to release a Mario Kart 9. But I do think that they could probably still roll with the success of 8 and maybe do what they're doing with Smash Ultimate, where they might have some, add-ons to maybe, more characters, more drivable characters, and go that way and extend its life versus creating a new one. But that's just, personal thought.
Yeah, like a driver's pass instead of a fighter's pass.
Exactly. Yeah, that'd be neat.
Shane, what about you? What do you think?
Well, I bought it in 2014 when it came out for the Wii U, and I was kind of a little disgruntled with buying those passes, because later on it comes for free plus extra stuff with the release in 2017 on the Switch. I think for two reasons they didn't do well, and that they improved in 8 is the balloon fight thing. They just did the whole level, and it was not good. And I think that has excelled the sales of 8 Deluxe, and the install base on the Wii U was not the greatest. So now that we have 4 years of almost 4 years of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, I don't think Nintendo is going to hurt if they put Mario Kart 9 out. They're going to make money regardless. But I do think that if 9 exists, which I'm sure it does, it will be released probably in spring of 2022. I do think with Zelda and some other games that possibly might be coming out this Christmas, they're going to push that to maybe April, May, June for next year. So,
all right. Ed, why does Mario Kart continue to sell so well, and when should 9 come out?
It continues to sell so well because everybody loves the online. Everybody's playing Mario Kart 8 online so much. You still see tournaments going on. You still see people doing invites on social media and everything. So I think it's still going strong because of the online functionality. It's a great game. I don't have it on Switch yet because I kind of want a Double Dash remake to come. But it's just doing numbers because of that online functionality. I think Mario Kart 9, yes, it should be released. I think it's going to come out, I believe, next year. But I think Mario Odyssey or some Mario platform game is going to come first, and then it's going to be Mario Kart 9, because going with you, David, and I guess I have to agree with you, doing a Nintendo Kart style kind of game, I think that's going to happen to Mario Kart 9. Now, if you're going to give me that, I need to get stages and roadmap, and I need a bomb soundtrack, because the Mario Kart soundtracks are always good, and I would just love to hear just this fun, right soundtrack with Mario Kart 9, and even with the trailer. I think it would be so cool for Nintendo to open E3 with Mario Kart. You just hear like,
that would be
"Ooh,"
great.
and he's just driving in, and you just hear this thing, and you think it's just like, oh, this is some DLC to Mario Kart 8. Oh no, this is not, and it's just a whole bunch that you
Oh man.
unexpected, and then might as well throw home circuit in because that has been a hit also.
Yeah.
And you can re-release Mario Home Kart Circuit and be like, okay, you guys brought this. Now we are releasing more
Content.
more information and stuff about that and add it to Mario Kart 9.
So
Like-
what if they did a trailer that was both a Smash and a Mario Kart 9 trailer, and that they added a character that was to both? You got an invite.
Man.
Oh, that would be
I like-
awesome.
On both.
Got an invite to both. Oh, that would be such a fun video. People would
Yeah.
lose their
Yeah.
minds.
I will already just hit Shay, or just like, where's your email address so I can just send you a $20 eShop card. Yeah.
Well,
50s and 100s.
It was. I appreciate what you all had to say about the story, and I Stephanie, relate so much to what you're talking about with the nostalgia for early Mario Kart. I love looking and seeing what console it came out on when I play, and I love Double Dash, Ed, but Mario Kart 64 has a special place in my heart. That's one of my favorites.
Nice.
All right, so our last story is both serious and a little bit bizarre. True story: Nintendo files lawsuit against hacker Gary Bowser. You heard that right, Gary Bowser. So this is also from Brian at NintendoEverything.com. Quote, on Friday, Nintendo of America filed a lawsuit against Gary Bowser, an apparent leader of a hacking group, Team Executor. It claims that Bowser infringed on the company's copyright in creating and selling hacks. Polygon notes that Nintendo is pursuing 2 trafficking counts and 1 copyright violation. The lawsuit refers to Bowser's operation as an international pirate ring that sells Switch hacking devices designed to circumvent security measures. These devices allow users to run pirated games. Piracy has long been an ongoing battle for Nintendo across multiple generations of hardware, though the Switch is obviously the company's current focus. The lawsuit does mention that Bowser has been creating and selling hack devices since at least 2013, having distributed a device designed to exploit the 3DS. As for the Switch, the lawsuit says that Bowser's hacks continue to put more than 79 million Nintendo Switch and Switch Lite consoles at risk for piracy. Nintendo is seeking $2,500 for each trafficked device, in addition to $150,000 for each company copyright violation. It is looking to put a stop to Bowser's actions as well. All right, so Nintendo has had a flurry of legal actions this past year. Are these high-profile, aggressive lawsuits, cease and desist orders, and takedowns necessary? How do they shape the company's image? And why don't we see other companies engaging in these sort of high profile legal actions? Shane, we'll go ahead and start with you. What are your thoughts on this very bizarre story?
So, as a parent, my thought, Nintendo as a parent to their IPs and their hardware and software, just want to protect their brands to ensure that they don't become compromised in any way. So I think that's good parenting. So at the same time, you can be overbearing, and so you gotta as a company have to weigh, what's worth it and what's not. I don't think that if they were to allow this to go on, I think the worth of their games are going to go down, of course, and they don't want to see that. So I think it's necessary to protect what they own, and I'm not going to say anything bad about them for doing that. But in the same realm, there's certain cases I think that instead of, for example, someone makes a offshoot game of Zelda. Instead of cease and desist, why not say, hey, you want to have an interview?
Right?
Either take your stuff down or come in for an interview. So why not do some kind of program that they have like a indie type program where these people that do this kind of stuff can then rise up the ladder and start making a Zelda game, start making a Metroid game, Kirby game, whatever, instead of making it almost negative.
Right.
That's just my opinion. So
that's a great point, Shane. And I think that I'm pretty sure that Sega did that with some Sonic games at one point, right?
Yes.
They brought them aboard famously, and man, that especially being in the Zelda community, how many great Zelda mods or things like that have we seen? Absolutely. Where it's like, well, how many minutes until Nintendo pulls this down?
Exactly, and you see like the 4K mods for Zelda,
right?
These people in and help you make a 4K Zelda. I don't know. Yeah. Why wouldn't you? Get their foot in the door. They know what they're doing. So,
well, final comments here from Ed and Stephanie. Ed, go ahead. What do you think?
So I think they did. Of course, Nintendo did the right thing, protecting their IPs. And what they did was something illegal. They're infringing on their pattern. If the Switch stuff gets damaged and everything, people are going to be sitting into Nintendo to get it fixed, and Nintendo's going to be like, "Well, you put something illegal on it, so we refuse to fix it. You broke the contract that you agreed when you purchased this thing, but we purchased our system." And so, and you can't send people can't send their system to the hackers to get their stuff fixed because they already did something illegal and everything. So, first of all, congratulations. I hope Nintendo get their coins. For everything they did, because the cease and desist stuff, which is separated from this this thing, is that people always want to do something on the Nintendo platform, and it just kind of shows how powerful Nintendo IPs, how powerful their consoles and hardware is because some people are like, well, it's easier to hack. Why is it easier to hack? If you are a person who can hack it, okay, you should be able to hack a PlayStation and an Xbox. But people don't. They don't pirate that stuff on those platforms and everything. People want to get noticed by using Nintendo IPs, and sometimes it works for them in a good way. The AM2R, we talked to them from on World War One podcast, and one of the guys, Milton, he ended up helping make Ori and the Blind Forest, Moon Studios.
Oh, that's right.
So and at that time, he got the cease and desist, but then we realized that they was making a Samus Return game for 3DS and everything, and so it kind of works. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, connect that back to what Shane was saying, right? Like, in essence, you have other people picking up this talent, right?
Yeah.
When they're cease and desisting. Yeah, thanks, Ed. So, Stephanie, last thoughts on this? Anything to add at closing here?
Yeah, I mean, not too much. I mean, and I personally hate like saying this, but it's a business. That's kind of unfortunately the bottom line. A business is a business, so I can't really fault Nintendo for doing what they need to do. Though I would hope that they're kind of carrying out these things more for the principle of protecting their IPs, more for whatever financial penalties they get back, because I really don't think they need that.
They're doing all right.
Exactly, but like I said, bottom line is it's a business. I mean, I'm not like anti-hacker. Like I enjoy, seeing all these wonderful creative things, but like Ed and Shane said, things can come around, and usually good talent does get recognized one way or the other.
Yeah.
Yeah. And,
go ahead.
Oh, just lastly, we just talked about the indie showcase. Your game has instead of using Nintendo's IP to get discovered, make something and you will get a higher profile and probably sales. And looking at as a designer, if your stuff ends up in the indie showcase, so there's avenues to get recognized.
Well, I definitely had to laugh with the lead of the pirate ring being named Bowser. Stranger than fiction, right?
Did you see all the everybody using actual Bowser?
Oh yeah, there's some great images going around. All right, everybody. Well, that is the end of the family news section. So we are gonna send it back to you, Ed.
All right, everybody, it is time for our Dark Mode session. And we got a great discussion for you guys. As the Legend of Zelda Zelda series continues to evolve as a series, we're going to discuss what the future may hold and what we would love to see. Once Anuma leaves or retires from Nintendo, who can take over the series? We're opening a bottle of possibilities for the series. So, Breath of the Wild 2 has came and went. Hypothetical. It's all hypothetical. Where do we go from here? Where does the series go? So I'm going to start with you, David, because you have wrote a lot of pieces on Zelda. We have done a ranking for the Legend of Zelda series for this. So I want to get your thoughts because you said that you had some ideas, and I want to know, where does the Legend of Zelda series go? So go ahead.
Yeah, well, I'll answer in three parts here, and I've certainly written about some of this over at Zelda Dungeon, but I'll start with the more out there fringe content. So for the 35th anniversary of Zelda, we at Zelda Dungeon wrote kind of like a combined piece of our like wildest imagination of what we would want for the series. And for my part about that, I wrote about an augmented reality Zelda. So I want them to do something similar to what they did with Mario Kart Home Circuit, which I love and play with my kids. Give us instead of a Mario Kart that rolls around with the camera and the augmented reality on it, give us Epona with Link riding Epona, or some other table and make it a loop that you have to drive under, and it becomes part of the racetrack. Well, imagine being able to create a little mini dungeon with augmented reality at your kitchen table with your kids. I think that would be an absolute blast and an opportunity for Nintendo to do something a little out of the box. So that's thing number one. In a little bit more traditional vein, but still something different than what Nintendo's done, I want a Super Mario Maker style Zelda Dungeon Builder. I think we need to leverage that online sharing ability. Link's Awakening had that dungeon builder in the latest remake of that, but the inability to share that with friends in any meaningful way really was a bummer for that. And then the last thing, just thinking about the mainline series itself, I would really like to see them continue to go in this open world direction. I know that was controversial for some fans who wanted more of a linear traditional Zelda game, but I think it brought so many people into the fold, and it really matches up with this generation's consoles in terms of that style of play. And I would really like to see them continue to break the tradition mold a little bit. Let us choose to be Zelda for the adventure instead of Link, or give us more choice over the character. There's nothing in Zelda lore that says that the manifestation of the hero has to be male. So I think giving players choice over that, I think would be awesome. So that's my kind of wish list. I know, Ed, that you were asking about who in the industry could take over, and I don't even know where to start with that. So.
Okay, we'll get to that one a little bit later. I'll give you time to think about it. Stephanie, Breath of the Wild 2 has just came, went, it finished, it got Game of the Year again. It just did numbers. Where does the Legend of Zelda series go from there?
Ooh, after I sink in maybe like 600 hours into that game. Yeah, and I'm expecting, at least some sort of difference. Just real quick on Breath of the Wild 2. Didn't they say that a lot of the developers were playing Red Dead 2 while they were in the process of making Breath of the Wild 2? So, stuff like that is, it's a good sign that they are looking at other games, other styles to, keep the franchise fresh. And, kind of like that huge milestone with Ocarina of Time, with the 3D model and Z targeting, Breath of the Wild with the open world concept. I think after Breath of the Wild 2, I would like to hope, and kind of like David said, like they'll kind of break some more walls here, because I believe that Zelda's been pretty traditional and linear for a very, very long time. So as much as I have this wish list, like either an online mode, which I'm doubtful that'll happen soon, but I would love some sort of online mode or improved multiplayer. Like that might come sooner than later. Like again, take Four Swords, either with a new story or a similar story, but in a manner that it's much easier. It's easier. Ooh, I can't talk. It's getting kind of late. For friends to hop online, split those screens, and have an adventure together. So something along those lines. Again, whether or not you can select a Zelda to play, maybe get involved with other NPCs, playing with them, traveling together as a group. And then lastly, I'd like to see more, and what I could expect more spin-off, so to speak, because Zelda, again, is a franchise that, had its own formula. They were very protective of their IP for a long time, but over the years, they had remakes done by Grezzo, and then spin-offs, so to speak, like Cadence of Hyrule, Hyrule Warriors, Age of Calamity, and I think now they're developing a trust for these developers like Grezzo to recreate a couple things. So I would love to see more spin-offs of the franchise as well.
All right. Shane, you just got done with Breath of the Wild 2. You got 5 articles out. They are New York Times worth reading. They're just the best. You put the controller down and you did everything. You're celebrating that it got Game of the Year. Yeah. Where does the Legend of Zelda series go?
So one thing that I love about the Zelda series is it can feel and look so different, but it can feel so familiar throughout each iteration. The basics are there, the foundation's there, but it's malleable. There's just so much you can do on top of those basics. I want to see more of an RPG, fleshed out dungeons, characters, mounts, weapons, and dwellings that are customizable, bigger purpose for Link's house, his dwelling, whatever he's in. There's some kind of, hybrid, bigger purpose of some sort that he would use it for. So I've got an article coming up at the beginning of May here that discusses different past transportations in Zelda and what I would like to see. So I'm not going to spoil most of them. The one thing I thought was, back in January, I played an indie game called The Red Lantern. And it's at the beginning, you're in a van and you want to be part of a dog sled race. So you go and you choose, I think it's 4 or 5 dogs, 4 dogs, and you own one out of 10 dogs or something like that. And you go to each one of these dogs, and as you go, you have to pick 4 out of those. And it creates a team. So I thought, with all the dogs around Hyrule, why not be able to go up to a dog, friend it, and you can, almost like the horses, you can take the dog, and then you can create a snow sled, and you can use it up north, go wherever you want. In the snow sled, you can use your Wolf Amiibo Link, and he could be the lead for your team, stuff like that. That's what I kind of am picturing, but you can also do it with maybe the sand seals, and you can do it down, you get sand seals into your sled, or you can mix and match, or or use other animals that they might have. Another thing I thought of is they have the 900 Korok seeds. What will they do to replace that? Actually, I was in Twitch today, and I had thought of something, and I thought maybe, since I like Minish Cap as one of my favorite top-downs, I thought, what if they had the Minish in this game, because I know they scrapped that from the first one, and use kinstones, and you could collect the kinstones, and you had to match them with different people, or Minish, or whatever the case is, whoever have these stones, and that'll unlock things as you go. Maybe use it for the RPG thing element, so you can unlock things for your weapons, or I don't know. There's so many different, ways you could incorporate that. as for the position for EJ Anuma, so I did some research. From 2019 to 2020, there was an increase in employment at Nintendo from 5,944 to 6,200. And in comparison, from 2010, they had only 4,425 employees. So they've really ramped up in the last decade for, people that could potentially be under those Zelda teams and maybe step up. But EJ Anuma is 58 years old right now. And in comparison, I think Miyamoto is 68.
Yeah.
And there was one guy that I've come across that I think would be I guess, a good successor. So EJ could put in another 10 years. Who knows? He might follow in Miyamoto's footsteps. The guy's name is Hideo Maro Fujibayashi. So he's 48 years old. He's been working for Nintendo for a while, and he's directed all the way from Oracle all the way up. So he's been part of the team. He's done writing. He's done directing. So 20 years at least he's been doing this. So he's on a lot of the in the background almost in the credits. But I think with his experience and what he has already accomplished, he'd probably be a good successor, especially if he's only 48. Say EJ does it for another 5-6 years, then he could take over. He'll be in his 50s, give us another decade or so, and then someone else will come along. But yeah, I think that'd be a good guy to fill his shoes.
Okay. So for me, I would love to see the Master Sword being cursed and the light arrows being cursed. And now that the traditional weapons and lore that the Zelda series has kind of like went through a downfall, I feel like Zelda's blood and Link's blood somehow like it gets saved. Zelda dies, Link dies, Ganon has won. But somehow the world has gotten to a modern age and everything. A boy and a girl, they are on a quest, just exploring, just exploring Greece, let's just say, or exploring Japan or whatever, Australia. So exploring somewhere where they come in contact of Zelda's and Link's blood. And they pick it up and they're trying to figure out what's going on. The ground shakes and the blood from the glass like cuts them, but it's just their blood and heals them. So now this girl and this boy has become the new Legend of Zelda timeline, Link and Zelda. So now they're trying to find, this happens and now they have to go and save the world from Ganondorf. And everything. So now you got this modern new kind of take of the timeline with it. And they go out and instead of, going back try to do that old Master Sword, they find a new Master Sword where now it's double katanas. And instead of light arrows, it's like I think David, when we was playing Hyrule Warriors, does she have like some kind of ball or something? Or is that or some kind of thing?
She has her goddess powers.
Sure, her goddess powers.
Yeah.
So now she acquired the new goddess powers, where she don't have to create arrows. If she wants to create arrows, she could just form it. She could form different weapons. So if she wants to make it like a bow or anything, she can. And they go and save this. They go and defeat Ganon, destroy the old weapons. And now this new timeline happens and everything, and realize that it was destiny for them to become the new Link and the new Zelda.
So Ed, would you want, when you're talking about restarting a timeline, would you want traditional weapons still, or would you be open to the idea of kind of pulling a Final Fantasy a little bit and bringing it into the modern era?
So Um, modern area. And this is more because of Insomniac. Insomniac is so creative with making these imaginable weapons, and I know Nintendo could do it, but they don't. I think it's time for them to upgrade and evolve the weapons. Maybe the grapple thing is still there, but now you are using it as a chain whip because you don't use a whip in the Legend of Zelda series. Maybe your grapple thing could change it and stuff. And maybe if you do have a sword, like I said, I would love to see katana blades and stuff. So you now got these platinum games, Ninja Theory action stylish action inputs to put in for your fighting and stuff. Where you get counter and like you still can find the shield and everything, but the shield is just like it the shield, of course, you find the Legend of Zelda shield in the Hyrule shield because the metal that's in it it's a certain kind of ore or iron from the old traditional days of Hyrule. And
so you're still connecting back.
Yeah. It still stood the test of time and it never got corrupted or anything because of how strong it is.
That's a really awesome point because I believe some of the concept art for Breath of the Wild, because I bought all the art books. Some of that concept art was a more modernized Link. I mean, I know we ended up getting like that that kind of motorcycle in the DLC.
Yes.
So trending in that direction. Yes, the Master Cycle. Thank you. And, at first when I saw those renditions of a more modern Link, it just didn't sit right with me. But the more we talk about it, I'm like, if they want to, do it with 360 and kind of change things up, a modern take is viable for sure.
Yeah. I say do that. And then they realize that something in the Legend of Zelda 2 for the NES plays a part into this. Because you visit different towns, it's different enemies, and the whole game is a different design. So since it's a different design, and this game is a different design, kind of connected to there. And then once you beat it and once you end it, you kind of realize that there's a museum that has all the masks from Majora's Mask that's still there. And it's just like there's a glowing eye that opens and stuff, and it's just like, okay, now Majora's Mask is coming into play.
Ooh, these visuals, I love it.
Now,
I was going to say I do have an article on Another Zelda podcast that pretty much details what I think the sequel is going to be. So if you're interested, you should read it. It's called Deep Slumber Deity, and it's really good.
Now, I will say that'd be a different graphic style. And I say make a funny kind of Zelda game in the style of Brahma Half or Inuyasha. Like take that art style and make it like very comedic and stuff. Of course, because Zelda is kind of serious and everything, but I would love to see some slapstick comedy Zelda happening with that game.
Some Pa-Rappa.
Yeah, cause see, I already told David that I will pay him $60 if his Four Sword Adventure game comes out that he said that he's talking about. He would have his game pre-ordered and sent to his house.
I don't think Nintendo's gonna give us a Zelda 99. I wish.
I'm just saying, if they sold it, I would be like, David, don't even buy it. Your copy is on this way. So, as for with Anuma leaving, I think I would love to see one of their females be head of Zelda. I think it's time to change the guard. Whenever Onuma leaves, and I would like to see a female representation. How would they take this? And of course, this is coming from Japanese culture. I think it would be a different idea and a different perspective, and I think that's what we kind of need for it. So, David, did you have any thoughts about the Onuma thing? Were you able to think about it, or?
No, I mean, I'm always bad with names when it comes with folks like that. But I did like what Shane was saying just about somebody with a little bit of a pedigree there, because I guess what I don't want to have happen is somebody to come from out of house who's had no history or connection with Zelda. I'm all for reinventing and bringing new things, but I want some understanding of the history there and some institutional memory. So that's important to me.
Maybe we can get some of the developers for the Philips CDI games on there.
Oh wow. Oh wow. Okay, so our last thing about the Zelda series, w- what would you guys do, like personally? What would you think? What would you like to inject personally into the Legend of Zelda? Like, would you want a character, custom made version where you could create your character or anything, or would you have it like an Animal Cross style Legend of Zelda where you get a town and you design the clothes and you design the weapons and you can send people out to do quests and stuff? Like, how would you put yourself into the Legend of Zelda? David, you want to start or
Yeah, I got some ideas for this. So I do think player choice is becoming increasingly important in games, and it would make a lot of traditionalists mad, but I actually think it would be great if there was a game where you could choose to be evil or good in the game, and out of that choice launch whole different directions for the plot or game endings. There's lots of games that have done this well over the years. Probably one of my favorite games in my life that I played are the Knights of the Old Republic games, which allow you to choose the light side or dark side of the Force. And I would love something similar that allows a little bit more player control over the game. And Zelda, even Breath of the Wild, still tells a very controlled story. Even though you get freedom of movement and exploration, you can change the order that you get the memories, but that's really it. But to actually have some agency in the plot, I think would be a very welcome direction. And if I could be king of Nintendo for a day, that's what I would put my rubber stamp on.
How does a Dark David look in the Legend of Zelda?
Well, I don't know. I think just what if as a player you could make decisions that align you more with the spirit of demise instead of the spirit of the goddess, and you had a little bit, maybe in a game like that, because you're occupying the space of evil, a character like Ganondorf has to become the hero, right? So you could still keep Ganon as an antagonist or Link as the protagonist, but you could flip the story a little bit, and I think that would be really interesting. I always have a hard time choosing the evil paths when I play games, though. I had to force myself on Knights of the Old Republic to play evil to get the other ending. So,
okay, Shane, what would you interject in yourself into the Legend of Zelda?
I was going to say, I would love the paper Zelda idea that I.
Yes.
However, with what David's saying, one of my favorite games is Fallout 3, and you've got your good and bad paths that you could take. And I would think if they did the option of first person and the third person in the Zelda series, where you can, interchange between the two, and then along with trying to go good, maybe more evil, I was thinking of like a Spider-Man versus Deadpool type feel where, Spider-Man's pretty pure and Deadpool is the anti-hero. So it's the same Link, but he doesn't get too evil, but, well, he does, but not to where it's overpowering the actual evil of Ganondorf or Ganon or whoever is going to be that person. But yeah, I would definitely like a first-person view in my Zelda game, and I just think it'd be so cool to swap out your greaves and all that, what you see and what you're holding. You can dual wield, water and fire staff, and do different kinds of things like that. Hook shot, that would be just amazing to see that kind of view as Link. And then you can customize just like any other RPG, clothes, hat, shoes, and unlock things that you can upgrade. And I don't know, I think it'd be pretty cool to have like a Bethesda type feel to it. So,
okay, Stephanie, what would you include from you into the Legend of Zelda series, like a game?
Well, I gotta, say that I'm probably channeling like a lot of David's thoughts, because I was thinking, oh my goodness, what if you could have multiple endings depending on, the choices that you make? Because now that we have the open world, to affect the plot would be great. In addition of like Knights of the Old Republic, I was thinking like a game that I had played relatively recently, Detroit, some of the various choices you make. Obviously the gameplay style is different, but the ability to branch off into different ways, even like at the end, if you complete a certain chapter of a Zelda story and just map up how you approach the dungeon or how you approach a side mission, and then compare it to how the rest of the community that's just great. And it's a sense of pride, like, oh well, I chose this or that and the other thing. Which, side note, I always wished I could play the bad guy, but also when it comes to choosing to sit, I'm like, no, I don't want to hurt that person. But anyway, that and or if they want to kind of focus it a little bit more traditional Zelda, there's 3 parts to the Triforce: wisdom, courage, and power. Maybe you could select one of them to align with more if you want to choose to take the path of power or wisdom, and then your story unfolds with that as your strength. I guess I'm thinking like kind of Kingdom Hearts there too, because don't you kind of pick like if you want to be strong with defense or offense?
Yeah.
Also, if we're thinking more of Animal Crossing, so personally, I like having, Link as Link, just because of the history behind it, that Link is supposed to be, the player projecting him or herself onto him or her in the future. But I can definitely see customization of that character in the future, especially if they want to gain a broader audience. But all I can think of is trading sequence. Bring back a nice trading sequence. I really missed that in Breath of the Wild. Like maybe we could have done something with that golden poo at the end of all the Korok seeds you get, and then trade it for something else, So if they could have like something like that.
David, Shane, what you guys got to say? Because you guys is like, yes, trading.
I mean, the golden poop is worthless, so yes, I agree.
So for me, I kind of would love to have a sushi shop in The Legend of Zelda, where you actually go out and you collect recipes or you collect items, and you come back and you make these items for adventurers and everything. So it's an online game. So if you come in with your Link or with your Zelda, you come to my shop and you order a sushi plate or whatever, and it gives you like energy or extra hearts or anything, and you go back to your original game and just go have fun and do that. Along with that, you taste testing stuff. You become you're a Link who is a cook, or you're a Link who is an architect, so you can help Zelda and them build dungeons and everything, build the castle and everything. Or you have a mining site, you go there and you mine stuff to make like pots and pans and things like that. So you able to be able to resist heat and everything. Or could make your own armor shop and stuff. Like I'm Link and I've run all of these businesses that other players could come in with their Link or their Zelda or with their character and come and shop and do everything. And so if you want to give me those golden pool, give me that golden pool and I can make something out of it.
It's like a Hyrule Life Simulator.
Like very Harvest Moon type vibe, but adventure style.
Yes.
Yeah. I would totally play that. That would be
fun.
Yeah. And if you guys wanted me to bring along, or I need to make a request, you guys come along. I put the request out. You guys fulfill it, and I just make the item for free for you. You don't pay anything. So if you want the biggest and most powerful thing, you went out, you collected everything. I make it, and I give it back to you, and that's it. So that's what I would interject. That's me. So. But yeah, everybody, that has been our discussion. So now it's time for Play with Power. Stephanie, what have you been playing with Power?
All right. So I finished Donut County. just a lot of fun. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's definitely a game for me where it's, you pick up, play a level, and you go. But now I'm actually moving on to Coffee Talk because I believe there's been some talk about Coffee Talk that, I think there'll be an episode coming out maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I had to, and Coffee Talk was it was part of the indie sale, I believe. So I'm like, well, I just have to buy it now. So I'm working through that. I am also playing Hitman 2, which that's completely like on the opposite side. But that's on my PS4 because I have I always play one game on my PS4 while I'm playing a game on my Switch. Yeah. Because there's another podcast I listen to, the Left Behind Game Club, and they're pretty fun. And right now they're going through Hitman 2, and they'll compare their scores and their star rating at the end of their podcast. So I play along to kind of see how well I do. And let me just tell you, I am not made for assassinating people, which I guess is a good thing. I don't do too well. So that's what I'm playing with. I have a huge list of indie games because I have a purchasing problem right now because they're all on sale. So.
Yeah. Shane, what have you been playing with Power?
So this past week, I beat Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice on PS4.
Yes.
And I also beat Observer on the Switch.
Yes.
Pretty decent games. Currently playing Zelda Triforce Heroes.
Brave.
Yeah. Basically, it's
a check
I'm
mark.
in the sixth level. Yeah. I still the other games that I have to play are the Four Swords Adventures, Zelda 2, and Majora's Mask. Those are the only other Zelda games I have to.
You got a couple of good ones to end there on.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm stuck on Zelda 2, man. Good luck.
Yeah. That was my first one I played, so not fond memories. But maybe that I'm older, I might like it. I'm also playing Resident Evil 3 on PS4. I just started last night. As well as last night, I started Coffee Talk. Because of David and Celeste, I bought it. It was on sale. I have a problem. I played it. So, yeah, I'm probably about 45 minutes into it, and I haven't mastered the lattes yet, but I'll make some cool design.
Are you checking your phone regularly?
Yes, I am.
Awesome.
But yeah, I'm excited to play that. So I like good story type games. So
yeah. We need to have a large round table once we all get through it. This is
Coffee Park Part 2. Talk to
Yes,
that's right.
August the last, I'll be like, we got a Part 2 coming for Coffee Talk. But David, what have you been playing with Power?
Well, since this is Zelda episode here, really quick, Shane, I had completely transformed and now love Zelda 2 thanks to the the NES Online's rewind button. It is.
I might benefit from that.
I shamelessly cheated my way through that game, and I appreciate the lore and the ideas behind the game so much. And I do hope that they'll give it a remake that's not impossibly hard and evil, because it is a really great game. So that's my plug for the rewind button. So I'm still grinding away at the same games that I was playing last week. So on my 3DS right now, I am trying to 100% Spirit Tracks, but it's starting to feel like a box checker for me as well. It's not my favorite Zelda. And then I am stuck in Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition right now. I need to go level up, and the hard thing about being a parent is I don't have time to grind for my characters anymore. So I get to these bosses, and it's like, well, when's my next break from work that I can grind this character a bit?
Or you have such a big break between when you can play it next, you don't know what the story is anymore.
Right, like what?
I gotta check my notes. Who's this guy again? You gotta put their names down and what you were doing. So.
It's real. So then I, when I get family time with my kids, we always play Fortnite together. So that's a mainstay. And then the last game I'm trying to finish playing is Greece, which my problem with that is I don't want to play it when I'm interrupted with my kids, because it's such a beautiful artistic game and I'm taking notes as I play it. And, that makes it really hard to have time that's uninterrupted to be able to play. So I'm dragging my feet a little bit on that one. But so that's it for me, Ed. What about for you? What are you playing with?
So I had to get my Switch out to look. So Monster Hunter Rise, I am playing, enjoying that game, just destroying these monsters. And on my Twitter page, I got like me jumping around, hitting all these monsters, and just having a great old time, just loving this game. Saga Frontier, people are now seeing the faults of this game. I thought this remaster would fix it, and it is still a questionable content game that Square Enix has to put down. And I'm just going to leave it at that. I say if people want to play it, give that a sale. Other than that, yeah, it's an interesting game. The Dark Side Detective, Fubba is in the dark. It's actually a point and click game that's comedy. Right now I'm at a senior home that is haunted. And so I got to find out what's going on, because like empty wheelchair was on fire that just passed down by me. I got two old people. It's not normal. I got two people on wheelchairs on the roof who are about to kill each other over this old woman. And it's just like, if y'all fall off this roof, y'all both dead. My car is possessed. It's all this crazy mess that I got to try to figure out what's going on to solve. And I'm there just to visit my partner's, who is another cop. I'm there trying to find out, we went there to the senior home to visit his nana. And the nana's not coming out because all of this crazy stuff is happening. So I am playing that. I'm baffled. It really is funny. I'm playing Tuha Luna Nights, which is like a Metroidvania game. It's kind of fun with that. I picked up God Strike. This is a boss rush, bullet hell kind of game, where all you fight is bosses. You got to dodge and shoot and everything. And it's kind of really cool. I picked up the demo for Aerial Knights Never Year demo. Really enjoyed that. It's great soundtrack. I think it's only 2 levels that you could play. And depending on what difficulty that you put it on would determine on how you play the game. Because there are some things that give you hints, and then if you do it like on the hardest mode, you have no hints. You got to pay attention on what to do. So that's really nice. I picked up When the Past Was Around. This is a game that I played in the demo. I think it was part of the indie sale too. And I cannot wait to go through this game because it's beautiful. The art, the story, I can't wait to find. Me and Celeste been talking about it in the past. And I don't know. She may have finished it. She may have not. But when I played the demo, when they announced this at the last indie showcase last year, I was just like, I have to have this game. And I cannot wait to experience it. Mm-hmm. Lost Words Beyond the Page. So this is a game that the crew at EXP has kind of recommended, for me to play, and I picked it up, and I'm having a problem with it. The problem is that the game is doing joystick drift or Joy-Con drift. Bug or what is going on, but it's like at times I'm like, okay, I need to collect this. Oh, it just walked off and killed itself. And I'm like, what the world is going on with this game? So I don't know. I'm going to try to finish it and play it as it is. And once I finish it, I'm taking it off my Switch. I don't know what's wrong with this game. I don't know why it's having this problem. Last but not least, I am playing Metroid on Nintendo Switch Online. Because the original, I've never beat the original Metroid, so I am trying to get my 4 Yoshi coins. Hopefully, Shane, you get your coins and everything. You too, Dan. David. I'm sorry.
All good.
Stephanie, we are doing a backlog challenge. And so where if you complete certain games by different companies, you get a Yoshi coin as your rank. And at the end of the year, you just add up how many Yoshi coins that you got.
But there's a caveat too. You don't really get many or any Yoshi coins if it came out this year, right?
Yes.
So
okay.
Yes.
you play any 2021 games, it doesn't count. So I've played all 2020 or
Got it. All right.
so far.
But if you beat, Coffee Talk, like if a game that came out this year, but it's been on other platforms for past years, it counts. Because it's already been released, it's just been ported. But something like, let's say, Breath of the Wild 2, if it came out this year and you beat it, you don't get no Yoshi coins.
You gotta wait till January to play it.
Yes. It's very easy, very simple, and everything.
Oh,
so
I'm all in. All right.
So
yes, technically, you could play Breath of the Wild and then not beat it till January 1st.
that is
No loopholes, Shane.
There
no
is
loopholes.
loopholes.
there is loopholes. That is true.
You gotta get those Yoshi coins.
Yeah, and I'm falling into David's trap that once I get done with Metroid, I am going to play The Legend of Zelda 2. I'm going to give it a fair shake.
All right.
Goodness, I know if we get that Majora's Mask announcement with our Ocarina of Time collection for the 35th anniversary, if we get it as a shadow drop that is only digital, I am going to have to buy it and literally play Majora's Mask.
I'm hoping that it comes because I haven't beat it and I'm having issues with. I have the original 3DS, so you don't have that extra knob on there to turn the camera. So I'm having problems actually seeing in the dungeon. I borrowed my sister's, but hers isn't the new one, so that doesn't have the nub either. So I don't want to play it till either I have that newer one or remake comes out. So
yeah. I have proclaimed it as a side quest sequel, so I have to.
All right, Ed.
Judge it until I finish it, but I'm not a fan of the time mechanic, and I just got to get past that.
Don't feed Ed. Don't give it Ed.
No, but I am going to play if it does come up. But that is what I have been playing with Power. And everybody, that has been Nintendo Power Block. Thank you guys for joining us on this episode. We're going to quickly get into plugs. Stephanie, where can we find you at?
Yeah, you guys can find me on Twitter at Klimov, KLIMOV _author. And then I'll be in the Discord chat.
All right. Shane, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Still Saying Shane, and I'm usually on there. Or you can check out our articles or podcasts at Another Zelda Podcast.
Yes. David, where can we find you? And you already know what to plug.
Right. So you can find me at David Lasby on Twitter. And we've recently added a couple folks to our writing team, and we're still looking to add a few more. So if you're passionate about writing, and of course you love games, or you wouldn't be listening to us, go ahead and email us at opportunities@brg@gmail.com. So that's opportunities@brg@gmail.com.
All right. You guys can find me on Twitter at That Retro Code. You guys can follow us on Twitter for Power Block at Power Block Podcast. You can email the show at nintendopowerblock@gmail.com. You guys can check out Optional Opinion, which is my own podcast at SoundCloud, and check out World 11 Podcast at World 11 Podcast on Podbean.com. Check out also Hunters for Hire, our Monster Hunter show with LaRon and Jacob. Check out Arsenal X with me and Jesse, where we talk all things Xbox. Check out Crossroads, which is LaRon, Austin, and Nelly, the PlayStation crew. Check out Taurus Casual with Corey and Josh and the crew for there, talking all the things Destiny. Check out 1v1, where we interview creators, and check out our side shows like Talk the Walk, Recap, and other shows that we have done for Boss Rush Games. You can also find us on YouTube at Boss Rush Games. So with that, everybody, have a great week. Have a great weekend. We want to know your Zelda ideas. So let us know in the Discord also. What kind of Zelda game would you make? What you think of the future of Zelda would be? We all want to know with that. What Zelda snacks do you play? Do you have when you play Zelda? I would love to know.
We need to talk about the Zelda cookbook at some point.
I tried to order it and I can't get it. I had to. Yeah, I've been trying to order it and it's been sold out because I want the hard copy.
Yep.
And it's been sold out. So I may have to get the paperback one. I want that. I want the cookbook so bad. But with that, everybody, have a great week. Have a great weekend, and we will see you next time on Nintendo Pop Block. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, Shane. Thank you, David. Thank you guys for coming on and having us talk about Zelda. We'll see you next time. Woohoo! Bye, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Night.